And
Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi alleged that a criminal syndicate involving cops, prison staff, judges, and politicians is holding South Africa hostage. Hi, I'm Karen Dolly, and I'm an author and journalist at Daily Maverick. Mkhwanazi made several other astounding accusations. He alleged that a drug cartel headquartered in Gauteng with ties to South America and other countries is ultimately controlling the state-saturated criminal syndicate. Listen to this press conference.
I can confirm before the South Africans today that the investigation which these members were involved with in Gauteng has unmasked the syndicate. And this syndicate involves, amongst others, politicians who are currently serving in Parliament. The law enforcement officers include the members of the South African Police Service, the Metro Police, and correctional services. They include prosecutors in Gauteng province, the judiciary, and all these are controlled by the drug cartel as well as business people in that province of Gauteng.
Mkhwanazi also alleged Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who has since been placed on leave, was in cahoots with the businessman turned crime suspect. Mchunu denied the accusations. President Cyril Ramaphosa has called this a grave national security concern, and he's launched a commission of inquiry into Mkhwanazi's accusations. So, let's break it down and take a closer look at some of Mkhwanazi's main claims. Is there a drug cartel with links to the state operating out of Gauteng? Now, we know drug trafficking is happening in and through the province. Just like in other parts of South Africa, regular drug busts make that clear. There have also been cases where police officers were arrested in connection with these crimes. In fact, the Hawks told me that officers have been implicated in cocaine interceptions, particularly those linked to Durban. Some of Mkhwanazi's claims align with what I've uncovered in my reporting on global trafficking through South Africa. He says drug shipments from South America often come in through Durban, and this holds up. I've reported extensively on how international traffickers, especially those operating out of Brazil, often use the port of Durban as a key entry point for narcotics into the country. Mkhwanazi also said that from KwaZulu-Natal, where Durban is located, the drugs are transported to another province, Gauteng, for processing and distribution. Police have before flagged this route, so Mkhwanazi seems to be on the mark here again. Further backing his drug assertions is what happened in KwaZulu-Natal in 2021. Between the 5th and 8th of November that year, the Hawks offices in Port Shepstone were broken into, and 200 million rands worth of cocaine was stolen. Many in cop circles saw it as an inside job, reinforcing suspicions that some police officers in South Africa are actively involved in global drug trafficking, just as Mkhwanazi has claimed. Mkhwanazi also made several accusations about firearms. He said an AK-47 and a pistol was seized after a 2024 murder in Gauteng, which was allegedly tied to Transnet tender corruption. Those guns, he claimed, are linked to cases involving high-profile artists in the province. But according to Mkhwanazi, prosecutors still haven't acted to enable arrests. There have been shootings targeting high-profile figures in Gauteng, and as of mid-July 2025, some of those cases still haven't led to suspects being detained, including for the killing of DJ Somebody, Opa John Sifoka. Sifoka and his apparent bodyguard, who went by the name Walter Sibusiso, were gunned down in Gauteng in November 2022. Now, DJ Somebody was involved in running entertainment venues, and he had ties to an alleged 28's gang boss in the Western Cape. Various assassinations with suspected drug links have happened there, and this arena gets even murkier. I found out that DJ Somebody's bodyguard, Walter Sibusiso, had previously worked for a company called Cat VIP Protection. This is based on photos from his social media. Now, that company was founded by Vusi Cat Matlala, who was once awarded a 360 million rand police contract, later terminated, and who's also been linked to an attempted murder case in Gauteng. That's according to allegations. Now, he's the same person Mkhwanazi claims is bankrolling the political ambitions of the police minister who has since been placed on leave, Senzo Mchunu, who has denied these links. Mkhwanazi is correct about one thing though. Several high-profile shootings in Gauteng remain unresolved, with no arrests made as I speak now. Mkhwanazi created the impression that South Africa's crime intelligence unit was deliberately dismantled, possibly to block key investigations. Here's what we do know. At the end of June 2025, the unit's head, Dumisani Khumalo, and 6 others were arrested over an allegedly irregular appointment. But months earlier, police had warned Parliament that Khumalo was being targeted because he was trying to clean up the historically corrupt Crime Intelligence Division. The alleged targeting came through claims which circulated in the media and on social media platforms that Khumalo was appointing allies to key positions. This is basically what he was arrested for, and that case is ongoing. So, while it's not yet clear if crime intelligence was intentionally imploded, it is clear that the unit has effectively ruptured. Where does this leave us? Overall, in terms of drugs, guns, shootings, and the depth and breadth of suspected state corruption in these arenas, Mkonazi's assertions are correct and not entirely new. The timing of his claims seems crucial. He spoke out just 10 days after the crime intelligence arrests and questioned the motive behind them. He even said he heard he may be arrested, suggesting it was because he's confronting a cartel he believes is operating out of Gauteng. I've spent years reporting on state corruption and policing, covering countless allegations and writing 4 books on the subject. We know rogue law enforcers work with gangsters. We know politicians benefit from skullduggery. We know street-level shootings may be deadly flashpoints of state capture. We know smear campaigns are used to intentionally distort truth. This happens globally. But in South Africa, which has never truly got a chance to recover from state greed and destructive captors, it is an ultimate betrayal. Let's hope that this developing political...
Good morning, masterminds. It is 3:45 on Tuesday morning.
Yep.
We don't sleep.
Yes.
We don't sleep. We are here to expose. Masterminds, you know what to do when you come in the house. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and please become a member of this channel so that we can bring you fresh bread out of the oven. Not brown bread, white bread. Jabs. Jabs, good morning.
Good morning, Suspect, and good morning to Real Mastermind. It is indeed a very good morning. Yes,
We
because
are alibats.
yes, and then a lot of things are currently happening. I'm not sure whether was this fake news or what, but I'm not sure.
That's what I wanted to tell you. Breaking news. You see what we are doing now? We are moving closer and closer and closer to George Baloyi. When Ramaphosa suspends Gauteng NPA debt, Andrew Chauke. When Chauke gets suspended, the card house is tumbling. The card house is tumbling. We are moving closer and closer and closer. And just when I listened to Karen Bowling, talking about guns, talking about drugs, talking about the involvement of police officers, you know, I was thinking, when I exposed the smuggling of state-owned firearms in Free State, at the time, I never thought that I was stepping on the tail of a snake. I was moving into a territory that are very, very dangerous because everything is interlinked. The firearms, the drugs, the human trafficking, the cartels, everything. For me, it was just exposing wrongdoing. State-owned firearms are being sold by police officers back to the black market. I never realized what I was actually doing. Hence, I found myself in leg irons in court for a crime that I never committed.
But this is what I actually find out that you said in the mainstream media on the interview. The interview says, if I die, Ramaphosa is to blame.
That's what I said.
Spend 50,000 rand to establish whether Nsia is a South African national or not. It is as simple as that. Just bring me. It could have taken like 4 hours to just answer, just produce it.
Patricia, do your allegations that the senior official of the South African Police Service is not South African, does that allegation not warrant an in-depth investigation, even to rule out the possibility of fraudulent documents having been used? Is that not what you had called for effectively when you went to IPID with this matter?
I just wanted you to come to a point of in-depth investigation, and we know now there's a judiciary inquiry that the president has actually instituted to see. We yet to see the terms of reference, but it's some of the things that you've been echoing for the last 8 years or so.
Yes. More
Yes,
than,
yeah.
let me say, since 2007, 8, something that I've been requesting. There was investigations back in 2008 by the Independent Police Directorate. It was also IPID at the time, they just changed the name. But there was never any implementation of the recommendation. We stated that all those who were implicated in that corruption that I reported at the time should be criminally charged. I still have that report. Becky Cele buried that report. He was a national commissioner at the time. But as you know, crime never expired. Crime never expired. There can still be dockets open against all those people because all of them are still alive, although most of them are now in retirement, but all of them are still alive. I'm also going to use that report to say, here is the report which recommended criminal charges against all these people, but because of corrupt prosecutors, because of a corrupt national commissioner who was Becky Cele at the time, those recommendations were never implicated. Instead, me as a whistleblower were targeted and are still targeted currently now.
Yes. Now, I know we discussed yesterday, brief, because you were emotionally disturbed after yesterday's court proceedings, like the Senzomewa case in court, about the condition of the inhumane conditions of those accused persons that are before Judge Ratha's court. Why? What was the trigger around that?
The trigger around that, and Jabs, please play that video that I sent you as well.
Is just start while I'm getting it ready. You
The
can just
trigger
start.
around that is I went through the same. I was leg-eyed in court, and it's not just about the sponges. It's about your dignity. It's about your dignity because you have to walk with those leg irons from the cells up the step. You know, you have to use your two hands basically just to balance yourself because those chains are so short. You can hardly put one leg before the other leg. You have to maneuver yourself in such a way so that you cannot trip. You understand? Most people who are not used to walk in those leg irons trip over their own feet and you will fail, you will hurt yourself. Now imagine yourself, you can hardly put one foot before the other foot when you are walking on a straight path. Imagine yourself trying to go up and down stairs with those leg irons. And in my situation, I was even forced to go and pay my own bail, still chained. I had to walk out of court, down the corridor, down the stairs, to a big hall where a lot of people were sitting. Police officers, members of the public, court officials, whoever. And when I lifted my head, because when you walk, you must look at where you are going. When I lifted my head, I saw my 2 kids sitting there. And all of us were shocked because I didn't expect them to be in court that day. All of us were shocked, and I was like, wow. The humiliation for my children at that moment, because at that moment I didn't even think about myself. I thought about what more are these people going to do to put my family through the hell that they are putting through. So when I saw them, just to direct the attention from what they are seeing, I started laughing. But the tears were rolling. I started laughing, and when they saw me laughing, they came to me, they hugged me, and they also laughing, and we started to make jokes about it. Now, the people who were coming after me, the people who were supporting me in court, they didn't also expect that reaction. Even the police officers who were escorting me didn't expect it. And I remember the sergeant that was in court, with me in court. She was asking, why are you laughing at your mother? And my daughter was, it's because she's laughing at us. And then it suddenly just turned into a huge joke. You understand? So I had to go, pay the bail, and go down the cells again. And I remained in the cells for the next 3 to 4 hours before I was released. And while I was sitting in the cells, I was asking myself, is this what is happening in South African courts? I was always the spectator. When I was in courts and I see these people coming, and you just hear the chains before you even see them, you hear the chains, and then it's when you see them. But finally, I've never saw a woman with chains before, never. I always just saw men with chains. And here I was, a woman in chains in front of my chamber. So when I heard about what was happening yesterday, what I would accused, it triggered those feelings that I had. When I asked the sergeant, when she chained me, I asked her, why are you chaining me? She said, no, you are not allowed to go in court without the chains. And I was like, but I'm not a flight risk. I'm not a dangerous criminal. I'm here for charges of spreading false allegations. Why? And she said, no, it's standard procedure. You must be chained when you appear in court. And there I am in chains because of standard procedure. I don't know who started the standard procedure, but what I know is, in terms of a constitutional court judgment,
How I was arrested and chained for exposing.
This is unconstitutional. And I sent that court judgment to you yesterday, and there was another magistrate court judgment where a magistrate and constitutional court judges say, this is unconstitutional unless there are extremely special circumstances. Accused persons are not allowed to appear in court with leg irons. Never mind having a huge uproar about sponges. The leg irons in the first place, in terms of that constitutional court judgment, is unconstitutional. So where did the standard procedure start? It started with the South African Police Service. It started with the South African Police Service. It started with correctional services. Now there's a judge in court, Judge Ratha, who doesn't even know that it's unconstitutional because of that Can you just read their judgment for us, Punjabs, even if it's just a citation?
Yes. All right. Yes, this the screenshot.
Okay, go down. I just want to read the citation.
That's the
Start at the top. Okay, the practice of allowing an accused person to appear in court in present garb is undesirable and is to be deprecated. I trust that the responsible authorities will heed this and similar comments that have been made in the past and act accordingly. The only instance where the appearance of an accused person in present garb may be justified is where his trial involves an offense committed in prison or one related to his imprisonment. For example, escaping from custody. The matter of S versus Mapuche, 2002 in brackets 1 SALR 55 in brackets WLD, a criminal appeal was decided under the present constitutional regime. The appellant argued that his court attendance in prison clothing had clearly indicated to the magistrate that he was a sentenced prisoner, which resulted in a failure of justice in terms of the common law in brackets at 552I in brackets. His constitutionally guaranteed right to a fair trial was violated, and more particularly his right to be presumed innocent. The appellant also complained about the fact that on the charge sheet J15, there was an indication in the space requiring information about the date of his arrest that he had been sentenced, in brackets, which clearly indicated to the magistrate that he had a previous conviction. The court referred to the United States Supreme Court explicit recognition in Estelle versus Williams, 1976 in brackets 4 to 5 US 501 of the danger that the accused appearance in present attire may have on the judgment of a juror, and specifically focus on the words of Brennan J. as to how the right to a fair trial and the presumption of innocence are compromised by the appearance of an accused person in present clothing. Okay, you can.
Yeah, but then it's fine. There was the
Constitutional Court judgment. That extracts from the Constitutional Court judgment. I think this one that I just read was a magistrate court judgment.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Section 302 and onwards of the Criminal Procedure Act deal with Section 304A, which is applicable to this case, requires the reviewing inquire whether or not the proceedings were in accordance with it has been cut there.
Yeah.
Okay, let me start there. The issue of accused person appearing in court in manacles or leg prison clothing from time to time arises in court and has evolved. You know what? The text has been cut, so I cannot read.
Okay.
It has been cut on.
I'll try to get while we're talking.
Okay, but the long and the short is that is the Constitutional Court judgment. They declared that the appearance of accused persons in present clothing and in leg irons is unconstitutional, because we are relying on the presumption that an accused person is innocent until proven guilty.
Now we saw, I think, just to remind the real mastermind that you are hoping to settle your outstanding bill so that you can complete your last few modules on this semester now with Eunice, law student. I know because you read with a lot of eloquent, because some of these cases it's you were pushed. How did you end up wanting to study law?
Because you know what, I got an interest in studying law because of in the course of my career, I saw a lot of, remember I was working in the police service.
Yes.
I saw a lot of people coming to my office, not police officers, members of the public, coming to my office. And most of the time it was just coincidentally, and they were looking for someone, and they land themselves in my office, and then they will tell me the story that, you know what, something happened. I was arrested, and currently I'm struggling. I'm innocent, and I was asking myself, but how come all these people are being brought to my office? And maybe most of the time they were looking maybe for the office of legal aid, they were looking for the office, and I will advise them. I will say, you know what, go to court and do this and this and this and this. And with that, I will also start doing some legal research to see, you know what, let me take your number, and then I will call you back and do this and this, and I will start doing legal research, and I will get back to them. Most of them, at the end of that, will be winning their cases based on just that kind of advice that I gave them. And there is where the interest in law started. I started to read legal cases, legal journals, and I found it quite interesting, and that is where my interest for law started. And when I registered for the LLB, I knew already that my biggest interest in fact is not in criminal law, but in constitutional law, so and human rights law. So yes, that's where I start my interest in the legal fraternity.
Okay. No, it's fine, because I was just asking that for what we've discussed yesterday in the sense of your case. Now, why? Because we saw the proceedings yesterday, and it's either because people knew who the president was going to suspend. That's why it was a deliberate plan that there won't be any court proceedings yesterday. Now, that touches the issues of denial of justice for both the Mayor family and a further punishment for these 5 accused persons, and which the judge actually had a comment about it, saying, but why will you complain now, where else you've been wearing these things since the beginning of the trial? And Baloy did come in defense on that regard, that the issues, the sponge was being moved. But what was interesting is that I want to remind you that before, accused number 3 and number 5, number 3 complained before about being handcuffed as well. And then Ratha says, are you listening with your hands or what?
Now that is where I was trying to tell you that I cannot imagine how he can possibly move being handcuffed and also leg iron, because it's an art to I don't know those police officers who are so eager to put you in irons, and have they ever been there? Have they ever tried to do that? By the long of the short here, for the 54-year career apartheid judge, is the shock that Judge Ratha doesn't even know that is a human rights violation in terms of the Bill of Rights. Now he goes and asks an accused person, why are you only complaining now? And are you thinking or talking with your hands? Now let me tell you, the suspension of Andrew Chauke is the beginning of the end of what has been happening in the NPA. Remember this case of Senzo Miwa at the point that it is now because of the actions of Andrew Chauke. And there's been a lot of complaints. I believe the same will happen in all other provinces with the provincial heads, the DPPs. In all other, because me myself, justice denied. In Free State, the DPP in Free State is an Indian woman who are refusing to prosecute any case that has my name on. To such an extent, an instruction, I still have the voice note. I must just go look for that voice note again. I will send it to you. An instruction have been issued by her to say, whenever Patricia Mashali opens a case, no one must handle that case. The docket must be sent straight to her office. And there she will just, without going through the matters, without reading the docket, and she will just decline to prosecute. I have 5 cases, 5 serious cases that I open against the Provincial Commissioner of Free State, against the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, against the Brigadier van Merwe, who issued made the magistrate sign a fraudulent seizure warrant with a fraudulent case in my name. And she declined to prosecute all those cases. I told myself, I say, you know what, let me deal with these subs criminals first, and then I will come and deal with that DPP in Free State.
All right. I want to ask you, because you said with reference of Advocate Chauke, you said the reason why the Miwa case it is where it is, it's because of his actions, basically. What are those actions, if you were to remind them?
Chauke is the head of Gauteng NPA.
Yes.
And he is the one who made the decision that this current docket should be prosecuted instead of the docket that was open, that was already investigated, finalized, and ready for trial. Remember, Baloy is not the head. The DPP is the one who made the decision which dockets to prosecute. So the person who made this decision to prosecute the docket that was still under investigation, and that is still under, because you heard yesterday, Baloy say he's going to call 2 more witnesses. We were under the impression that Gininda is the last witness. So now he said he have 2 more witnesses to call. Understand? So you ask yourself, this docket, every time there comes someone else. Instead, the docket that was opened by Makubu, their docket has been lying there for the longest time. And the same Chauke didn't even think about. Because if we read now through Chauke's resume, we can see that Chauke allegedly have protected political interest. You understand? So now there will be a commission of inquiry into Chauke's fitness. And I believe this is the beginning. There is going to be commission of inquiry in the fitness of most of the DPPs in the programs. And I know that one in Free State, I'm going to push, because currently we are busy now with our complaints, with all those dockets that has been open, not only just my docket, because there's a lot of people in Free State who open serious dockets. An employee of the NPA, an employee of the NPA, opened a serious docket, and those dockets have been covered up. So I believe that this is the beginning. Start here. Remember, we also have the one he's not a DPP, but he's also the gatekeeper, the MKZN, your Kaba. I also know there's serious complaints that has been registered against Kaba. Serious complaints, and I believe soon you will also be axed. Understand? So yes, what we wanted to do, masterminds, we just wanted to inform you that Judge Ratha is violating the rights of those accused persons by allowing them to appear in court in leg irons. Let's read the citation of that Constitutional Court judgment. I think is Stevens.
Yes.
I just want to read a citation so that masterminds can go look up the case for themselves.
Is this the one?
Okay. South Africa Free State High Court. Now this is the one in the High Court. There was also a Constitutional Court judgment. Yes.
Yes, I do have that.
Listen, levels here. The highest court in the country in terms of the Constitution, but that is also one of the cases where this issue of leg irons were addressed. Yes, it's S versus Piri, 3 van der Westhuizen. Courts have on several occasions expressed, yes, that the practice of accused person appearing in court in medical leg and chains of prison clothing is unsatisfactory, undesirable, and objectionable, and is to be deprecated and strongly disapproved. This is the High Court judgment. This is the Constitutional Court judgment. So we now know that what is happening in Judge Ratha's court is unconstitutional. And I believe that is why Baloy yesterday changed his tune so quickly. Because he knew they are going to face trouble in any court in the country because of this Constitutional Court judgment.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Sis Pat. I think we'll actually just need to record another part where we are actually dealing with other current issues, like what that press conference by Kwanas said.
Okay. Yeah. Now it's fine. Let's end it here, and then I will send you a link, and then we will immediately proceed.
All right.
Okay. Masterminds, you know what to do. I don't need to tell you anymore. This channel are growing. We are over 11,000. Yay! Let's move it up. Masterminds. Let's see. Meet again later, and then we proceed with the business of the day. Bye.
Thank you.